Welcome back. Now I'm going to be reviewing for you the classwork that was assigned for March 18th, page 283 in your Algebra 1 workbook. And again, what we're doing, guys, is we're comparing linear functions given an algebraic equation as well as a chart. Again, we're comparing linear functions. Now, mine does not look exactly like the workbook page, but I've tried to draw a box around each answer. So please check your work as we go along. So we're given g of x is 5x plus 11, and we're given that the domain of both the f of x and g of x functions is that x is allowed to go between 6 and 10, including the endpoints. Again, x is greater than or equal to 6, but less than or equal to 10. So the first question is, what's the initial value of f of x? Now, f of x is always going to be the chart. G of x is always going to be the equation. So our initial value of f of x, the initial is the lowest domain. So the lowest value of x is 6, so that our initial value is 36, and that's what you want to fill in. The initial value of g of x will also be the lowest number of the domain, which is 6. And so we substitute 6 in for the x, and so g of 6 is equal to 5 times 6 plus 11. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 11 gives me 41. Now, since f of x is linear, the domain is x is an element of the real numbers from 6 to 10. The range of f of x will be from f of 6 to f of 10. Okay, and again, those are our f of 6 is going to be 30, f of 10 is going to be 60, and so that's what they want next. So f of 6 is 36, f of 10 equals 60. 60. F of 6 es 36. Moving on. So what is our range of values? F of x, which we know is the y value, will be between 36 and 60. Again, f of x is greater than or equal to 36, less than or equal to 60. And again, where am I getting that? Here's the top of our range, and the bottom of our range is 60, and that's where that came from. Since g of x is linear, the domain is x is equal to all real numbers, but we're restricted to go from 6 to 10. Again, that was given information. It is a restricted domain. The range will be g of 6, because again, that's my smallest entry in the domain, to g of 10. Since g of 6 equals 41, and g of 10 will equal 5 times 10 plus 11, which equals 61. So again, we're substituting into the g of x formula, which is up here. 5 times whatever x is plus 11. So the range for g of x is all real numbers are equal to y, such that y, or g of x, is between 41 and 61. So again, g of x is greater than or equal to 41, but less than or equal to 61. So for your reflect question, it says, how can you use a table to find the rate of change for linear functions? You want to say something like, you can look at the table and you want to find the change in y, and you want to divide that by the change in x. How do we find the change in y? Well, we're going to look at each individual entry, and we're going to ask ourselves, how do we get from 36 to 42, and we went up by 6? So how does y change? Adición 6, adición 6, adición 6. So going between each of the numbers. If I ask you what is the change in x, well, the change in x is, how do I get from 6 to 7? Adición 1, 1, 1, 1. And so slope is change in y over change in x. So I would get 6 divided by 1, okay, which would give me 6 for my slope. Again, so here we go. Change in y divided by the change in x is equal to, for f of x anyway, is 6 over 1, which is 6, which we recall is equal to the m, which is equal to our slope. You can write this in words. You can write this in symbols. Either way works for me. And what is the change in x? We said was equal to 1 in this case, because we were adding 1 to get between the different entries in our domain column. Okay, you can also use words. You can say, look for the change. Look for the change in the y values and divide it by the change. I'm running out of room, somebody use this. The change in x values. All right, now they don't ask us to find the actual formula or model, but they could have. And in that event, you would find the y-intercept, which always occurs when x is 0, and you would derive the slope from the chart. All right, guys, hope that helped you. Again, once you're done, please fill out the actual workbook page, take a picture and submit it in Google Classroom. Or you can also enter this in the digital using the Kami to upload it, and you can submit it to me that way. Have a great day. 319s will be coming your way a little bit later today.